When the Polestar 2 first arrived, it was the car that made people take an upstart electric brand seriously. It was the first genuine alternative to a Tesla Model 3 that did not feel like a compromise, with a sharp design, a properly built interior, and the backing of Volvo's engineering. A few years on, it has been quietly but significantly improved, with a switch to rear-wheel drive, a bigger battery, more power, and faster charging. The question now is whether the car that helped create this class can still hold its own in it. From the outside, the Polestar 2 has aged remarkably well, which says a lot about how clean the original design was. It sits low and wide in a way most electric cars do not, somewhere between a sedan and a fastback, with crisp lines, frameless mirrors, and the minimalist Scandinavian look that became the brand's signature. The recent updates are subtle, a smarter front end and small detail changes, but the car never needed reinventing. On the show floor, it still looks more expensive and more considered than a lot of newer rivals. Inside is one of the Polestar 2's strongest cards. The cabin is beautifully built, calm, and free of unnecessary clutter, with high-quality materials and a restrained design that feels genuinely premium. But the real highlight is the technology. The Polestar 2 was among the first cars to run a full Google built-in system, and it remains one of the best in the business, with proper Google Maps, the Assistant, and an interface that is fast and logical in a way many rivals still cannot match. It is a reminder that good software matters as much as good materials, and it is something even some far more expensive cars get wrong. Practicality is reasonable rather than exceptional. The fastback shape means a slightly smaller boot than a boxier rival, though a useful hatchback opening and a handy front trunk for the cables help. There is enough space for a family's day-to-day needs, just not the cavernous room some electric SUVs offer. If breakdowns like this help you decide which electric car is worth it, subscribe so you catch the next one. Underneath is where the most important changes happened. The Polestar 2 switched from front to rear-wheel drive a couple of years ago, and it transformed the car, making it more balanced, more efficient, and genuinely enjoyable to drive. The long-range single-motor version now uses an 82 kWh battery to deliver around 406 miles on the European cycle, which is a seriously long range, with close to 300 horsepower. Above that sits the dual-motor, all-wheel drive version with up to 469 horsepower, which is properly fast. And charging has improved too, now peaking at around 200 kilowatts, enough to add most of the range back in under half an hour. The old criticisms about range and charging have largely been answered. There is an honest catch worth being clear about. This is, underneath, a design that has been around for several years now, and it shows in a couple of places. The fastback roofline eats into rear headroom and makes the back window small, so space and visibility in the rear are not its strong points. And the Tesla Model 3, it was built to fight, still tends to win on outright range for the money and on its charging network. But none of that erases what the Polestar does better: the build quality, the software, the design, and a driving feel that the update genuinely sharpened. Taken together, the 2026 Polestar 2 is a car that has matured rather than aged. The switch to rear-wheel drive, the bigger battery, and the faster charging fixed its early weaknesses, and everything that made it appealing in the first place, the design, the cabin, the Google system, is still here and still strong. It is no longer the new arrival shaking up the class. It is the established, classy alternative to the obvious choice. And for a lot of buyers, that quiet confidence is exactly what they are looking for.